that meditation is supposed to be fun. It's not something you do as a grim duty. The trouble with religion as we know it is that it is so mixed up with grim duties. We do it because it's good for you. It's a kind of self-punishment. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. And brings us into a state of peace where we can understand that the point of life, the place where it's at, is simply here and now.
This moment is the creation of the universe, starting now. If you look back and wonder whether there was a Big Bang a long time ago, all you'll see is vanishing traces. The Big Bang is happening now. This is when the world begins. You're doing it. Only you're not doing it by straining. A you deeper than the straining you is doing all this. The same you that is growing your hair and coloring your eyes and making your thumbprints and all that. You don't think about it. You don't strain muscles to do it. But that is what is creating the world. Here it comes. Now. So instead of thinking that the past is the reality which explains everything that happens now, let's look at now.
On the Fringe with Dan, RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. I have to kind of share something that I thought was kind of funny and oddly painful at the same time, but you got to share these things. It's a humble pie, right? I get to eat a little humble pie. So StreamYard, they've got this new AI thing they're trying out where when you're done streaming, it'll do an AI thing and it'll chop it up into these little cool little thumbnail, like the shorts, right? It'll chop it up for you, which is awesome because they charge a butt ton of money for people to do that if you go to somebody else. So last week, my AI snippets were 100%. There's 4 of them. 100% were all the Alan Watts stuff. None of it was me. Anyway, hurts, but it's funny as hell. So there you go. Dan is humbled. As always, Alan Watts is a genius too, so that's why I use his material. All of that said, welcome guys. It is the Law of One. We're doing it live. These are both kind of short. Someone had called out a great question in comments. I'm going to kind of take a couple questions before we get into it, because we're going to do 101 and 102. There's only 106 of these. 2 more weeks, guys, after today. So I hope you're ready. I have an idea of what I kind of want to do for the next thing. I'm going to take a couple weeks off or whatever, and then I'll let everyone know on the show what my plan is. But I have a neat idea. I think that'll be fun, and I'll probably do it in the same basic time slot. Might go a little longer, but we'll see how it plays out. That said, sessions 101 and 102. We're going to pop this question first. Think 2000. They had a question. They said, hey, how do you view cryptic from a dimensional density standpoint? And it's a great question. And so these cryptids tie into a lot of things, by the way. There's thought forms cryptids. There's literally physical cryptids. There's literally even inner Shambhala, if you will. Some of the people are reading Celestine Prophecy stuff. Some of the Shambhala people will pop up. There are many sightings of things like Bigfoot, where these are definitely creatures that are aware of what's going on around them, and in some cases seem to be able to disappear. So there's dimensional qualities, dimensional density differences. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. So that said, I think there's a lot to be said. I think there's a lot more going on around us than most of us realize. And again, to some degree, we're talking about things that aren't necessarily happening in our own lives, which is a small problematic thing to me, a little bit, in that I love that this brings the journey and questions and stuff like that, but a lot of the times it's like when you start to figure out what's being shown to you on your local movie and you start to make adjustments, and then you start to ask questions, oh, it's a different story. And you get very different answers. So it's almost like do the basic groundwork first, right? Get yourself stretched out properly. I hate stretching. I know it sucks. But if you do it, you'll be amazed the difference. So I say that, and of course it's fun. It's always fun to pull in this good stuff. So that's a fun question. I love the stuff. I've lived in a haunted place when I was younger, if we want to talk cryptids a little bit. Mothman was a big movie I went and saw. Very much believe all this stuff. I never experienced Bigfoot. I have seen shadow people. I would say I've probably maybe seen a Men in Black one time, but yeah, no, I've had some fun, crazy experiences in my life. And I've seen craft. And I've seen an actual physical helicopter one time. It was back in 93 maybe. And it was one of our probably special forces and it was a chopper type thing. And it was back then, so I'm sure the technology nowadays is significantly better. But you could hear the breaking of wind barely, but you could tell something was going through the wind, but I couldn't hear it. It was just like, and it just went flying by, and I was like, so it was cool. I've been in the right place at the right time in a few times in my life, so it's very, very, very lucky in that regard. I think we have some other stuff with questions. I think I had another question. Yeah, I think is very preguntas today. Lots of questions. I think the last few episodes heavily cover the health of Carla and the team. Do you think the degeneration is the lack of resource cohesion in the group or external forces trying to stop the inform? Now, this is actually, I think, the key question. I think you hit the nail on the head. I even think I've got like a note in here somewhere. What I have noticed, and one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to live through this, and I haven't skipped ahead, by the way. I'm intentionally doing it. I kind of want to go through this because I realize there's only 4 more sessions. I don't know how it ends. I forget. It's been a long time, and I don't know. So we will see. And some of you know, don't cheat, don't spoil. But yes, there's a concentration on Carla. So what if you think about... So I was going to cover a few angles. We're going to do it now, I guess, going into it, because these are kind of short sessions, like I said. To give a little groundwork, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in a situation. I hope I can find myself back on track. We're just going to go with this. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where maybe there was 2 or 3 of you in a conversation, right? Just 2 or 3 of you talking and bow. People talk, right? Like things bounce, and they go back and forth, and there's like a sort of a harmony to it, if you will. And then all of a sudden, somebody else, friend maybe, sure, walks in, sits down, and starts talking, and instantly the energy changes. Some of you maybe feel it. Some of you may just notice the conversation shifted off into different directions, like, whoa, what just happened? It's like somebody else hopped in and changed the frequency. So when you have a situation where you've got a group of people that are trying to work together, Scribe, then obviously the Carla, and I don't know what the third guy's title technically is, but like the 3 of them are all doing something. They're all involved in this. They're all involved in the energy. One of them's banging Carla because they keep talking about those sexual energies. It's like, I don't know who that's coming from, right? But okay. All right. Get some of that on you, right? They hope they play some of that, Luther Vandross or something. Whatever works. But that said, last few episodes, the health, the focus on her, everybody hoping they're trying to do the good thing, but the problem is they're doing it because she's being attacked. And when you focus on something because of the negative, you're focusing on the negative. There's a lot of organizations that are in existence because they're trying to make something go away. And here's the bad part about it, is if the thing goes away, they go away. And there's no organization that wants to go away. 0. Any organization that's helping to try to cure cancer, for example, should want to be able to shut its doors tomorrow. I pray tomorrow I can send and refund all the money that, or at least push it all off, and then just tell people never donate to me again. Here's the thing to go to. We just cured cancer, people. But they don't want that. They don't want the problem solved. Many of us say we do, but we focus on it. We create a war on crime, a war on terror, a war on this, a war on that. We got to do it for the children, whatever it is. And it's all nonsense. And that's the problem, is they manifested this crisis as a group together because they were so worried about trying to protect Carla that they actually created a problem in Carla, and Carla wasn't able to deal with it. And so again, it's just very interesting to watch how this plays out. Carla's a gifted channel. I've met a few in my life. I dated one time. I fell in love with one. It's sometimes hard to hold on to a shooting star, but for a little while I had my hand on one. But it is the way it works out sometimes. So, cool question. I know I didn't really answer it, but it's like, it's all the above. Like the group manifested, each individual was so worried about themselves, they manifested problems, they opened it up. It's one of the things I've started realizing about my situation, which I think is part of this, because I actually think this thing started when I first started teaching this. And then I stopped teaching it, and the thing continued, and I wasn't teaching it at all, and it still had this thing going on. So it went on for years. And then as I've progressed through it, I've kind of had a similar experience, and it's been, again, part of the teach learning for me. And that was part of why I wanted to do it, to sort of close that door. And I think I have, in my own respect, my own understanding of this friends that come to try to stop us from teaching these things. So external forces, yes. Learning how to deal with it internally, yes. Getting involved with groups, you got to be very careful because other people can greatly affect your success. That's why when in the manifesting circles, you never ever talk about what you're trying to manifest, because when you do, other people may be well-intentioned, but will screw it up for you. They'll screw up your confidence so bad. So very bad. Let's see. I don't see any other questions, so we're going to get the ball rolling. I feel like I've already spent gobs of time. Lots of people here tonight. This is great. Like I said, we're getting down to the last few, right? Okay, that's everything. So yeah, 101 focuses the group, the harmonics. It's kind of why I thought the questions were a good idea. And there's sort of like I said, with the example, I wrote it in here. When somebody joins a group, you've had two people hanging out talking, and then the third person shows up, and it's now very different kind of energy. Sometimes it works. 3's good. 4 starts to get okay, but and 5 you start to run into problem. Like there's a finite number. I don't know. There's studies done on it. It's like 10 or something. Is really you go past that and you start to lose all sorts of hope. Everybody should die. Oh my God, we're all gonna die. Let's see. Cleanse healing works, but so what I mean by this, and there's a lot of us. I'll go to a healer. I'll get healed. Awesome. I know there's a bunch of you guys in the audience right now that are healers, Reiki and all sorts of crazy good stuff. And it's good stuff. It actually works. There's people that can do it from a distance even. So don't be opposed to it. If it's somebody that you know and you know their energy is really solid, then yeah, they could probably help you for sure. You should most likely feel it, by the way. But, I was going somewhere with that. Don't know where. Oh, cleanse healing, yes. But you can heal somebody, but if they haven't really fixed the problems that caused the illness or caused the dis-ease, then you as a healer, sure, might clear it up, but they're going to create it again, and quickly for that matter. And as a healer, you shouldn't have to come back over and over. If you're taking it steps at a time, maybe, but you shouldn't have to, right? Like they shouldn't need you on a regular basis. We got something else going on, and maybe we should handle the problem, not keep putting a Band-Aid on it. And I think there's a big difference, so I love it. And I think that's kind of what they sort of do in this group, is they keep trying to do healing techniques and to solve and walk the circle and whatever the shit, all the stuff they do. But the fact of the matter is, they continue to have all these doubts. They continue to harbor these thoughts, and it's the problem. You're a manifesting machine, and when you got your energy finely tuned and turned on and tuned in, your a hardcore laser beam, and whatever you point that shizzle at, you annihilate. And it can be a good annihilate or a bad annihilate. It's up to you, but it's totally up to you. That's the trick. That's what we're all trying to learn here. This is just a practice playground. This is the Matrix, right? Your Neo's like, I know Kung Fu. Like, that's it, guys. To a large extent, way oversimplifying, but okay. Anyway, 101, Law of One. Thank you guys for joining. Man, I'll miss it. I'll miss this concept, but we're getting close. And by the way, 102, geez, it was like Anatomy friggin' A. It was like some sort of Grey's Anatomy TV show. I was like voicing that over. Oh, yeah, you guys, I'm sure I said a bunch of stuff wrong. We'll get there. All said. Here's session 101. We'll start there first, but it is Law of One on the Fringe. Law of One, session 101. Recorded December 21st, 1982. Ra. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. We communicate now. Questioner. Could you first please give me the condition of the instrument? Ra. I am Ra. All energy levels of the instrument are somewhat diminished due to the distortions of physical pain and recent mental emotional catalyst. However, the energy levels appear to be very liable to be improved in what you call your immediate future. Questioner. Thank you. What has caused the swelling in Jim's body and what can be done to heal it? Ra. I am Ra. For the answer to this query, we must begin with the consideration of the serpent, signifying wisdom. This symbol has the value of the ease of viewing the two faces of the one who is wise. Positive wisdom adorns the brow, indicating indigo ray work. Negative wisdom, by which we intend to signify expressions which effectually separate the self from the other self, may be symbolized by the poison of the fangs. To use that which a mind-body-spirit complex has gained of wisdom for the use of separation is to invite the fatal bite of that wisdom's darker side. The entity has a mental-emotional tendency which has been lessening in distortion for some of your space-time towards negative wisdom. The entity, being already aware of this, causes not to dwell upon this point, but merely to specifically draw the boundaries of the metaphysical background for the energizing of a series of bites from one of your second density species. In this case, the bite was no more than that of one of the arachnoids, sometimes called the wood spider. However, it is possible that were enough work done to test the origin of the pathology of the entity, it is within the probability limits that the testing would show the bite of the cottonmouth rather than the bite of a common wood spider. The energizing took its place within the lymphatic system of the entity's yellow ray physical body. Therefore, the working continues. There is increasing strain upon the spleen, the suprarenal glands, the renal complex, and some probability of difficulty with the liver. Further, the lymphatic difficulties have begun to strain the entity's bronchial system. This is some general information upon what is to be noted as a somewhat efficient working. The removal of these distortions has several portions. Firstly, it is well to seek the good offices of the one known as Stewart, so that harsh chemical means may be taken to reawaken the histaminic reflexes of the entity and to aid in the removal of edema. Secondly, we suggest that which has already begun, that is, the request of the one known now to this group as Bob, that this entity may focus its aid upon the metaphysical connections with the yellow ray body. Thirdly, the entity must take note of its physical vehicle's needs for potassium. The ingesting of the fruit of the banana palm is recommended. Fourthly, the links between the swelling of the contumely and the apparent present situation is helpful. As always, the support of the harmonious group is an aid, as is meditation. It is to be noted that this entity requires some discipline in the meditation which the others of the group do not find necessary in the same manner. Therefore, the entity may continue with its forms of meditation, known that each in the group supports its entirely, although the instinct to share in the discipline is not always present. Each entity has its ways of viewing and learning from the illusion, and each processes catalyst using unique circuitry. Thus, all need not be the same to be equal in will and faith. Questioner: thank you. I will make a statement as to the way I see the action, and I would request Ra's comment. I see the present position as the Creator knowing itself presently using the concept of polarization. We seem to accentuate or to produce catalysts to increase the desired polarization, whether the mechanism be random through what we call the higher self, or through the services of an oppositely polarized entity acting upon us with catalyst. All of these seem to produce the same effect, which is more intense polarization in the desired direction once that direction has been definitely chosen. I see a catalyst of the second density insect bite being a function of either or of any of the sources of which I have spoken, from random to augmented through the higher self or through the oppositely polarized services of those who monitor our activities, all of which have roughly the same ultimate effect. Would Ra comment on my observation? Ra: I am Ra. We find your observations unexceptionable and, in the large, correct. Questioner: in this particular case, which avenue was the one that produced the catalyst of the bite? Ra: I am Ra. The nature of catalyst is such that there is only one source, for the catalyst and experience are further attempts at specificity in dealing with the architecture of the unconscious mind of the self. Therefore, in an incarnational experience, the self as creator, especially the higher self, is the base from which catalyst stands to offer its service to the mind, body, or spirit. In the sense which we feel you intend, the source was the fifth density, negative friend, which had noted the gradual failing away of the inharmonious patterns of the distortions called anger, frustration, in an entity. The insect was easily led to an attack, and the physical vehicle, which had long-standing allergies and sensitivities, was also easily led into the mechanism of failure of lymphatic function and the greatly diminished ability of the immune system to remove from the yellow ray body that which distorted it. Questioner: something occurred to me. I'm going to make a guess that my illness over the past week was a function of some action by my higher self to eliminate the possibility of a residence in the proximity of a larger number of bees that I observed. Would Ra comment on my statement? Ra: I am Ra. We can comment, not upon the questioner's physical distortions, but upon the indubitable truth of second-density hive creatures. That is, that a hive mentality, as a whole, can be influenced by one strong metaphysical impulse. Both the instrument and the scribe have the capacity for great distortions towards non-viability, given such an attack by a great number of the stinging insects. Questioner: are the thought form parameters and other general parameters of the 893 Oakdale Road address in Atlanta such that no cleansing would be necessary if Ra had this information? Ra: I am Ra. No. Questioner: would cleansing of the nature suggested for the house other than just of the Would cleansing of the nature suggested for the other house just south of the airport in Atlanta be advisable for the 893 Oakdale Road address? Ra: I am Ra. We note that any residence, whether previously benign, as is the one of which you speak, or previously of malignant character, needs the basic cleansing of the salt, water, and broom. The benign nature of the aforementioned domicile is such that the cleansing could be done in two portions, that is, no egress or entrance through any but one opening for one cleansing, then egress and entrance from all other places, while the remaining portal is properly sealed. The placing of salt may be done at the place which is not being sealed, the first of the cleansings, and the salt may be requested to act as a seal, and yet allow the passage of gentle spirits such as yourselves. We suggest that you speak to this substance and name each entity for which permission is needed in order to pass. Let no person pass without permission being asked of the salt. This is the case in the residence of which you speak. Questioner, thank you. Could Ra give any information on any way that we could give information to Greta Woodrue on how to alleviate her present condition of swelling? Ra, I am Ra. We may only suggest that the honor of propinquity to light carries within it the law of responsibility. The duty to refrain from contumely, discord, and all things which, when unresolved within, makes way for workings, lies before the instrument of which you speak. This entity may, if it is desired by the scribe, share our comments upon the working of the latter entity. The entity which is given constant and unremitting approval by those surrounding, it suffers from the loss of the mirroring effect of those which reflect truthfully rather than unquestioningly. This is not a suggestion to reinstate judgment, but merely a suggestion for all those supporting instruments. That is, support. Be harmonious, share in love, joy, and thanksgiving. But find love within truth, for each instrument benefits from this support more than from the total admiration which overcomes discrimination. Questioner, thank you. I see that the 45-minute timer window has passed, so I will ask if there is anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or improve the contact. Ra, I am Ra. We find that this instrument has used all the transferred energy and has been speaking using its vital energy reserve. We do suggest using the transferred sexual energy to the total exclusion of vital reserves if possible. The alignments are as they must for all to continue well. We are grateful for the conscientiousness of the support group. I am Ra. I lead this group glorying in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth rejoicing, therefore, in the power and in the peace of the one Creator. Adonai. On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle, finishing up Law of One, session 101, right there. And some good stuff. A couple notes I had. I don't know if I've got any questions yet. We'll see. But why things happen. The spider bite is an example, but when you work through a lot of the weird stuff, because a lot of us have a lot of weird stuff where we're like constantly like upset, or where, you know, like a lot of us are kind of like thrashing and kicking in the moment. So it's really hard to tell exactly what's causing the problem, because you're causing many problems, right? But just finally relaxing in and paying attention to what's happening and giving it like a day or two, you know, after you finally take a couple punches and you're like, all right, you'll start to see a pattern. You'll start to see where you can interact. You'll start to see it. And it's, the spider bite could have some implications for a reason. Maybe there's a balance. I mean, I've had things like this happen before, and you're like, why am I getting eaten at night? Like, especially spiders for me personally. And it's happened before, but generally not. But I have like kind of an actual love for spiders. I generally, unless they're right above me when I'm going to bed, I will leave them and just say, hey, I don't like to see you so much, so keep doing your magic. Nice to see you, Charlotte. You know, Charlotte's Web. But like for the most part, unless it's like above me at night when I'm sleeping, there's no damn way. Fortunately, there's a ceiling fan, so I have a level of confidence. But yeah, like if a spider, yeah, it happens. And you're like, what, how, why? What, why? And sometimes there's a backstory there. Maybe there's something you've been thinking. Maybe it's meant to stop you for a second. The fangs can represent something, because sometimes you'll see the two bites. That's almost how you'll almost know it's a spider bite. You'll see two like fang marks right next to each other, and then like a, you know, swollen, and you're like, spider bit me. So there is that, or you have superpowers now. There's that. I mean, so again, where do you go with it? What do you do with it? It's a catalyst. It's kind of the beautiful thing about life. Like, it presents these weird opportunities, and each one's presented to you specifically as an individual, so it's tailored to you. Right? I was talk about how the gold coin, right? You tailored suit and tailored suit now, right? Like, yeah, it's tailored to you. Like you pulled the gold coin out and they're like, all right, here we go. Here's your suit. And you're like, oh, but this is gross. It just happened last week. Yeah, I know. You still haven't figured it out. It is part of the problem. So, yeah, pay attention to what's happening in your life. Spider bites might happen and be like, why? Like if you really want to get into it, it's a trip. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. It'll change your life. Creator knowing itself. I have had two different experiences where I literally saw where I came into this reality. Like the place I went into, and I went in there to do the thing. And not dissimilar, but not similar, by the way, to Matrix, but kind of it's like a thing. Like, you're doing it. And it didn't hurt or anything like that. It was kind of cool. It's like hanging out with friends is what it basically seems like. But this is something that we came here for a reason. And a lot of us are here to help, oddly, right? So, creator knowing itself. I think, therefore I am. Like, it's about you and I figuring out, this is me. Oh, if I put my hand up, this literally is that. And when you see it and connect it, and see the connection, you will. I'm telling you, it's so cool. It's just hard to like screaming from mountaintops. If you knew this, you'd scream it. Some people don't like to hear it. Okay, so this is my last little note. Fifth density. So people worried about what can. Oh my God, the devil. The devil can get me. And that's what fifth density basically is, right? Fifth density creatures, fifth density intention, fifth density thing that bugs the shit out of me from time to time. It's the devil, okay, for any of you religious folk. If not, it's that negative energy. Now, what can it do? It can create thought forms, and it can create thoughts. So thought forms meaning things you might see. You might, out of the corner of your eye, might see something, right? Like you might see some things. Or, and again, you're just seeing something. And you could possibly have the experience of thoughts popping into your head. Thoughts that are negative, thoughts that are meant to take you into the, I might slip and fall. This could happen. And you start thinking about something bad. And you spend any time thinking about it, and then you get bummed, right? Like you're now manifesting that thing. So it can cause you, if you aren't paying attention, to do things that aren't good. And if you're not paying attention to what's happening around you, you won't get the signs that things are kind of moving in a weird direction. So it's very important to pay attention to that. Not all unknown is bad. And that's true. A lot of people assume if something weird's happening to you, it must be a bad thing. And that's not the case. If something weird's happening to you, it's meant to get your attention. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, could be a caution, could be so pay attention to what's going on. You'll see the signs always. It's fantastic. And then when it comes to being worried about what's going on around, especially even for someone like myself, I am protected. I know I'm protected. So it's okay, right? That is a big part of this process. And this is what the group was experiencing. They were given the opportunity to face this. And by the way, I feel they helped us understand it better, so we could get through this. Because, and I don't know what happens in the next 4 episodes, but they really, next 4 after, they went through a change, and it seems to have cost them dearly. So again, she probably got sicker maybe and couldn't, I don't know, maybe she had a surgery and something happened. I don't know how it ends, and I'll look it up on the last session. We'll talk specifically about what happened to Carla. And that said, we've got one more to go. I don't think I got any questions, do I? Oh, there's a question. Maggie's got a question. Yeah, cool. I see it right there. That is very helpful. Maggie says, who exactly is Ra? This first really puzzles me. He certainly is not God. Ra has been described numerous times, and Ra represents essentially a civilization back in the day that supposedly started in Venus. So that Ra is just a consciousness. I don't know. That's what that is. He never claims to be God, and especially capital G God. So yeah, there you go, Maggie. I hope that helps with your questions in regards to that. I oftentimes, I mean, Maggie, I know you kind of well. This is not necessarily your cup of tea per se. I would, but I love that you're here. I appreciate that. We're gonna do session 102. This one's a little more, well, brutal when it comes to my anatomy abilities. I never took anatomy. I didn't want to. And I can't say, I'd probably say a bunch of stuff wrong. So I didn't look it up. I didn't want to. There's so many over these 2 videos of words that I had it's like, I've never heard this weird ass word in my life. No one will ever say it again. I'm not looking it up. I don't care. I don't care. So we did a little of that. There is some talk about the diet and how this caused her problem. This entire session is kind of based on that. But again, the questioning, you get this opportunity to talk to Ra. You're using this instrument, Carla, and here you are talking about disease. Here you are focused on negative things. Here you are not really doing what you were set out to do. You can see the 5th density entity 1 is what I'm seeing play out before us. He won. He took it down. He stopped it. Now, am I going to stop with any of you guys for the connection? Yeah, I'm going to stop when I'm done with the Law of One. But I'll probably come back and do a Thursday thing. I might be able to take weeks off, though. I'm not going to be hardcore on it. Like I've got to, because that's been part of my problem. Right? We're going to do a Thursday thing. We'll get there. I got an idea, too. I even know what I think I want to do. I just haven't thought about, imaging and all that stupid stuff. We'll get there. So thank you, Maggie, for your good question. Thank you guys for being one more, 102. This is, again, diet, pay attention. Yeah, if you eat stuff that makes you feel weird, don't eat that stuff anymore, period. End of story. Don't worry about what's wrong with me? Oh, should I go see a doctor? No, just don't eat that stuff anymore. Eat other things, right? Pay attention. Pay attention to your reality. You will go so far. Most people are too busy pointing fingers. And if you guys, I swear to God, if 100% of you guys are paying attention to your own worlds, we got this. This game's over. World's changed. Telling you, seriously, you guys, just you guys, 100%. So yes, there we go. It is Law of One, session 102. Long-windedly on the Fringe. Law of One, session 102, recorded March 22nd, 1983. Ra, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. We communicate now. Questioner, would you first please give me the condition of the instrument? Ra, I am Ra. The physical energy deficit of this entity is the most substantial across which we have come. The mental and mental-emotional distortions are near to balance, and the vital energy of the instrument as a whole is distorted towards health or strength weakness due to the will of the instrument. Questioner, will Ra please tell us what caused the pain and cramping in the instrument's stomach and what could be done to heal it? Ra, in order to observe the cause of physical distortion towards illness, one must look to the energy center which is blocked. In this situation, the blockage being yellow ray, the experience has had the characteristic of that region of the chemical body. The so-called lacuna in the wind-written armor of light and love was closed and not only repaired, but much improved. However, the distortions energized during this momentary lapse from free energy flow are serious and shall be continuing for, in all probability vortices, some of your space-time. For a predisposition to the spasticity in the transverse colon has been energized. There is also pre-existing weakness in pancreatic function, especially that linked with the hypothalamus. There is also the pre-existing damage to portions of the liver. These lacks or distortions manifest in that portion of the system directly proceeding from the jejunum. Further, there is some irritation closer to the duodenum, which causes the instrument to fail in assimilating foodstuffs. This is an allopathically caused irritation. The diet is of central import. We can go no further in observing the system of the entity as a full discussion of those distortions towards various weakness strengths which may contribute to the present difficulty begin with the lips and end with the anus. We may note that the instrument has remained centered upon the Creator at a percentage exceeding 90. This is the key, continuing in thanksgiving and gratitude for all things. There are stronger antispasmodic drugs which the one not known to this instrument, but known as Arthur, may aid by the offering. The recommendation to do this being as it is that which does not retain or remove life and does further remove from the instrument its opportunities for study in this situation, needs must be withheld. We are not in a position to recommend treatment at this space-time beyond the watching of the types of foodstuffs ingested. Questioner: I'm not sure I understood everything you said. Can you give me the last name of this Arthur and where he's located? Ra: I am Ra. We can. Questioner: will you please do that? Ra: I am Ra. The entity, sound vibration Arthur, has a surname Shone and is of your locality. Questioner: what foods should the instrument eliminate from her diet in order to alleviate these painful attacks? Ra: I am Ra. The information gained from the one known as Bob is that which is to be recommended. Further, all foodstuffs are to be cooked so that those things which are ingested be soft and easily macerated. There is a complex addiction due to long-standing eating habits to your sugars. It is to be recommended that, therefore, this sugar be given in its more concentrated form in your time of late afternoon, as you term it, with the ingestion of the sugared libation approximately 1 to 2 of your hours after the evening meal. It is further suggested that since this instrument has been using sugars for carbohydrates, that a small amount of carbohydrate, low in sugar, be ingested approximately 1 to 2 of your hours before the sleeping period. Questioner: as I understand what you say, the instrument is to have no sugar until late in the afternoon. Is that correct? Ra: I am Ra. No. Questioner: I didn't fully understand what you meant about when she shouldn't have the sugar. Could you clear that up, please? Ra: I am Ra. The concentrated sugar, that is, the dessert, the ice cream, the cookie, should be ingested at that time. Small amounts of the fructose, maple, or raw honey may be ingested periodically for, as we have said, the chemistry of this yellow ray body is such that the sugar is being used by blood enzymes, as would carbohydrates in a less distorted yellow ray physical vehicle. Questioner: I'm sorry that I'm so slow at picking up precisely what we're getting at here, but I want to be sure that we get this right, so I'll probably ask a few more stupid questions. Was the spasm that caused the extreme pain a spasm of the ilium? Ra: I am Ra. Partially. The transverse colon also spasmed, as did the ducts to the liver in the lower portion. There were also muscle spasms from the bronchial coverings down through the pelvis and from shoulder blades to hips. These sympathetic spasms are a symptom of the exhaustion of the entity's physical vehicle. Questioner: then these spasms, of course, were originally, the opening was made by yellow ray blockage, but these spasms then are triggered, I am assuming, by the foodstuffs, which has to do with the ingestion of sugar, as I understand it. Am I correct? Ra: I am Ra. You are partially correct. Questioner: then what else causes the spasm? Ra: I am Ra. We speak of 2 types of cause. The first of proximate cause was a meal with too much oil and too large a burden of undercooked vegetable material. The sugar of the dessert and the few sips of your coffee mixture were also not helpful. The second cause, and this shall be stated clearly, is the energizing of any pre-existing condition in order to keep this group from functioning by means of removing the instrument from the ranks of those able to work with those of Ra. Questioner: now is there the 2 areas then that the instrument can look to for curing this problem? I understand that the yellow ray blockage problem has completely repaired, shall I say. If this is not correct, could you make suggestions on that, please? Ra: I am Ra. Each entity must, in order to completely unblock yellow ray, love all which are in relationship to it, with hope only of the other self's joy, peace, and comfort. Questioner. The second thing that the instrument must do to effect this cure is to be careful of diet, which includes all that Ra has just stated and what Bob recommends from his readings. There seems to be so many different things that could cause this spasm. I was just wondering if there is a general approach to foods. Could Ra recommend, say, those foods the instrument could eat that would have no chance of creating the problem that caused the spasm? Could Ra do that, please? Ra. I am Ra. No. Questioner. Is this because of the first distortion? Ra. I am Ra. No. Questioner. Why cannot Ra do that? Ra. I am Ra. There are no foods which this instrument can take with total confidence that no spasm shall occur. The spasming portions of the vehicle have become sensitized through great distortions towards that which you call pain. Questioner. Is there a group of foods which is most likely not to cause the spasming condition, or any foods that Ra could recommend that are highly probable to not cause spasm? Ra. I am Ra. Yes. Questioner. Would Ra please mention which foods are highly probable in not causing any spasming in the instrument's digestive system? Ra. I am Ra. The liquids not containing carbonation, the well-cooked vegetable which is most light and soft, the well-cooked grains, the non-fatted meats such as the fish. You may note that some recommended foodstuffs overlap allergies and sensitivities due to the juvenile rheumatoid arthritic conditions. Further, although sugar, such as is your sweetened desserts, represents a potential, we may suggest that it be included at this period for aforementioned reasons. Questioner. Would Ra please estimate the length of time in hour time periods for the probability of this problem if we follow these curative measures, for the probability of this problem to continue in any extreme severity? Ra. I am Ra. One of your moon's revolutions has a good probability vortex of seeing either the worsening of the spastic conditions so that surgery becomes indicated, or the bettering of the situation so that the diet continues to be watched, but the spasm be removed. The housing of the working is within the infected, within the duodenum, the stomach, the jejunum, the ileum, the transverse colon, the portions of the liver. This shall be somewhat difficult to remove and constitutes perhaps the most efficient working to date. We may suggest again that the one known as Bob may be of aid. The one known as Stewart could, if it wished, discover the infection which is only marginally detectable, but may prefer not to do so. In this case, it would be well to request physical aid from an allopathic specialist, such as that which has been mentioned. Questioner. Do you mean by that Arthur Schoen? Ra. I am Ra. That is correct. Questioner. You mentioned the possibility of surgery. What would be the surgery to be done, specifically? Ra. I am Ra. The body cannot long bear the extreme acidity which is the environment of such spasms, and will develop the holes or ulcerations which then do appear upon the allopathic testings, and suggest to the chirurgeon that which is to be excised. Questioner. In other words, the removal of ulcers. Would this be a duodenic ulcer? Would this be the type of operation that you would perform for a duodenic ulcer? Ra. I am Ra. If the ulceration occurs, it shall be past the jejunum, and most likely include the ileum and upper portions of the transverse colon. May we ask for one more query of normal length, as this entity, though filled with enough transferred energy, has the most fragile framework through which we may channel this and our energies. Questioner. Obviously, we would very much like to not get to the point of surgery, and the only other alternative that comes to mind, other than the diet and the instrument's personal mental work, is healing through a healer, and I would like Ra's recommendation with respect to a non-allopathic type healer, and any recommendations Ra could make for either Jim or myself to act in that capacity, or, anyone else Ra could recommend, so that we wouldn't have to go through this surgical operation if it seems to become necessary, and if we could start working on one of these other approaches right away, I think it would be highly recommended. Would Ra comment on that, please? Ra, I am Ra. We salute the opening of compassion circuitry in the questioner, but note that that which is being experienced by this group is being experienced within a healing atmosphere. The healing hands of each have limited use when the distortion has so many metaphysical layers and mixtures. Therefore, look not to a healing, but to the joy of companionship, for each is strong and has its feet set upon the way. The moon cast its shadow. What shall you see? Link hands and walk towards the sun. In this instance, this is the greatest healing. For the physical vehicle, we can suggest far less than you had hoped. Questioner, I'll just ask then if there is anything we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or improve the contact. Ra, I am Ra. All is well. Find love and thanksgiving together, and each shall support each. The alignments are conscientious. We are known to you as Ra. We leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth then, merry and glad in His power and peace. Adonai. Yeah, they changed up. It's on the Fringe, Dan RadioStyle. We're doing Law of One, Session 102. This one's very strange, I think. And I think this is really the place. It started already showing itself a few times, in my opinion. It popped in and out. I didn't really get into it yet. But here, for sure, the fifth density has taken over the conversation. And the two gentlemen, Jim and Jim and whoever, they both are not aware. They're not catching on. They're not paying attention. They're not, I don't know what it was. This is one of the things where I've just been like watching them like, really? You guys just let this? Ah, man. So it was early. This was 50 years ago. And again, I've stood on these people's shoulders to see where I can see. So I thank them for what they've been through and what they did. Again, how this plays out, we'll see. But they started talking about surgery. Surgery. Your higher self, your positive God source self, it would never go down the path of that unless that's something you were about to go into. But otherwise, if you've got health concerns and you haven't been to a doctor, your higher self's not going to be like, oh, so you probably need surgery. That's not how it is. It'll suggest a path to start moving in the right direction. Maybe you need to make phone calls. Maybe you need to do this. Maybe you start eating better. Start going for a walk. Why don't you you could walk. You might be good for the cardiovascular. Like, it'll move you in a direction that kind of like is sort of positive versus something it'll bring you down. And thinking about possible surgery, if you understand how manifestation works, getting you to think about something puts it in your consciousness. This is what they do with the news. This is what they do on the media. This is what they surround us with the billboards and everything else. Your phone, the news sources they'll feed on you, all this stuff. So, what you choose to ingest, what you pay attention to that's going on around you, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, what you do with that. Oh, I had a thought in my head and it said something negative. So I ran down to the liquor store and held it up, right? Like, that's never going to be an okay thing. Crazy thought happens in your head and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. No. People might get hurt. No. I'll go down there and, buy another pack of cigarettes like a normal person, or I don't know, whatever. I used to smoke. I haven't. It's been a lot of years since I have, but the good times when I did. Anyway, missed times. Probably got a lot of smokers in my audience. I have positive vibes versus negative vibe. It really is that simple. What do you want to experience? Like, as a joke I have with my friend, I've kind of told people about it. It's like, I asked my friend, I'm like, what do you want? Like, because both of us are, neither one of us are really necessarily wanting. We're not like super rich. I'm not flying around on an airplane, taking a helicopter to Starbucks. I'm not doing that. but I have a car, I have a house, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in sort of, and he's the same way, right? And it's just like asking him, what do you want? And that's a tough question for a lot of people. We're not supposed to answer that. We're supposed to be there for others. And sometimes changing that mindset of how can I experience, what are some of the things I'd like to do that would be able to help more people, for example, because that's actually something to want. You know, a lot of people are, you're programmed to believe it's a negative thing. Like, oh, you're being selfish. It's like, no, I'm trying to figure out, like, I love doing this. How can I get like more? How can I make it even better? Right? Like that, you know, if you love doing something and 10 people are doing it and then 100 people could be too, there is sort of a level of, well, I guess more people are kind of a part of this now. That's kind of cool. That's, or seeing it, or maybe being affected. And it gives you and it's a dopamine thing. It's not necessarily the best, but at the same time, I guess, right? We're supposed to be helping. Companionship versus healing. This is one thing that I thought was an important distinction. Companionship is the idea of why we came here to begin with. Why are you here? Why are we alive? And that's what I meant by my friend. Like, what do we want? Why are you here? What do you think you were born for? What did you always feel drawn to? What were you always wanting to experience? Because that's probably a huge part of why you are here. Not all of us are here for the same thing. And there is no right answer. Every answer is the perfect answer. But what's important is know thyself. What is your answer? Why? That's why again, everything right now is about what do you think? I could care less what some other person thinks. Here's a video, listen to this person. I don't care. What do you think? I don't care about someone else. I care about you. This idea of understanding life and knowing that at some point we're going to pass through the veil and see people we know. A lot of us believe it. So being heavily hyper-focused on, can I stay alive an extra 3 years, is kind of stupid. Enjoy every moment you have, every second of the day. And when you finally get to stroke out, God bless America. You're going to heaven. You're going home. Friends are going to be around you. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You get to go home. It's okay. So holding and struggling is stupid. Freaking out about something that we're all going to do eventually. Oh, no, that's the meat grinder. It's not like that. It's not like that. I think that's how a lot of people see it. Right? Just keep trying to pull back. That's not how it is. It's not how it is. You go back home. Then you want to do it again? Do it again. You can come back this time as your kid's child. You know, you can switch it around a little bit and see why it sucks being a kid. All set. I love it. I don't know if we have any questions. A-Score, thank you always for helping. I've offended someone. That's pretty good. It was only a 5-minute pause. For anyone that's paying attention, it's pretty funny. That said, yeah, no, I don't think we got any questions. I brought up anatomy, which I can't. Oh, it's so brutal. The Jejuan, whatever. It sounds like a religion or some kind. Yeah, I love you guys. I think that's it. But yeah, I have to get these uploaded to all the other platforms. I'm like 4 behind, I think now. So we'll work on that this weekend, I guess. Guys, thank you for being part of this. 2 more sessions, 2 more Law of Ones, 2 more. I don't know what's going to happen next. You guys might already. Don't spoil it for people. It's going to be fun. I love you guys. We're going to do Law of One. We're going to do it together. And so where we go one, we go all is still appropriate. And it's on Law of One, sessions 103, 104 coming next week. It is, of course, on the Fringe. Thank you, guys.
Meditation is supposed to be fun. It's not something you do as a grim duty. The trouble with religion as we know it is that it is so mixed up with grim duties. We do it because it's good for you. It's a kind of self-punishment. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. And brings us into a state of peace where we can understand that the point of life, the place where it's at, is simply here and now.
This moment is the creation of the universe. It's starting now. If you look back and wonder whether there was a big bang a long time ago, all you'll see is vanishing traces. The big bang is happening now. This is when the world begins. You're doing it. Only you're not doing it by straining. A you deeper than the straining you is doing all this. The same you that is growing your hair and coloring your eyes and making your thumbprints and all that. You don't think about it. You don't strain muscles to do it. But that is what is creating the world. Here it comes. Now. So instead of thinking that the past is the reality which explains everything that happens now, let's look at now.